we're here to do the newspapers. Mama, good morning.
Good morning, Roland Walker.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm okay. You know, it's a Friday.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take it easy. Thank God it's Friday, everybody. Oh, I'm excited because later on this morning, this guy you see on your screen right now, yes, is on the show. And I've been looking forward to this day, really. There's something about this guy that I like. And I kind of discovered him even though he's been in the system for a while, not too long ago. I heard his sound, Wahala Day. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
oh, this voice is horrible. So episode is here this morning, and he will be performing live for us as well. So
It should be that
listen,
song.
yeah.
And other songs
Yeah,
as well.
he's a great guy. I saw him perform live at the Alliance Française last Saturday when Trick had his Osajifo night, and he's incredible. Listen, you've got to pay attention to this guy right here, and you will love him. I promise you.
Yeah, definitely.
You will love
we'll
him.
bring you a song or two if we have time before he comes in, so that you're all familiar with it. Yes, it is. Just a song, I'm sure.
Yeah, so that's episode. And it's our Relationship Friday. We've got Dear AM. This is a letter that we received, and you've been talking about it. We'll digest it later today. But here's the twist to our conversations. So, you know, this gentleman who wrote to us is contemplating divorce because of what he's discovered. So today we'll speak to a father who has gone through divorce and he's remarried. That's the perspective of somebody who's been there before.
Wow.
And then we'll listen to what he thinks of this letter. Today, it will be time for all of us to reflect. But let's do the newspapers,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah, start with the graphic.
All right, front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, Small Arms Commission to assign codes to firearms. Also, High Court dismisses Bank of Ghana's application against Unit Credit. The banner headline, though, waiting to die, 180 on death row. No executions since 1993. Yeah, they're not killing you, but you're on death row, you're waiting to die. What it does. It says some 180 condemned prisoners, and you see it on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Some 180 condemned prisoners are languishing on death row at the Nsawa Medium Security Prison because successive presidents had since 1993 refused to sign their death warrants. The condemned prisoners include 174 men and 6 women, with many of them being sentenced to death by hanging for murder. The Nsawa Medium Prison is the only prison in the country with a condemned block that can hold 200 prisoners. Speaking to the Daily Graphic in Accra last Wednesday, the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Prison Service, Vitalis Aye, said he was not in a position to explain why Ghana's president would not sign death warrants. All right, so details of that in the paper today. Center spread family planning not aimed at limiting number of children. We will consider requests for public hearing of PPA investigations. That's according to SHRAJ. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice has said it will consider a request by the suspended head of the Public Procurement Authority, Mr. Jenim Boateng Ejay, for a public hearing of investigations into his conduct by the Commission. It said it will take a decision after concluding its preliminary investigations into the allegations against Mr. Ejay. Also, House of Chiefs urges government to enhance corruption fights. That's all in the center spread of the Daily Graphic newspaper. On the back page, Tamale Airport expansion project, government hands oversight to contractor. And Abuakwa youth protests poor road. It says youth of Abuakwa in the Echima in Wabieja West District of the Ashanti region yesterday embarked on a demonstration to protest the poor state of the Abuakwa Tanoso Road. The road, which is part of the Sofo Line interchange project, has remained uncompleted for 12 years. And the youth, who call themselves the Youth Coalition for Progress, say they will no longer sit down unconcerned for the area to be neglected by government. Reason they decided to embark on this action yesterday. A lot more details of all the stories in the paper today. Perhaps I can just touch on this on page 16. It says an application filed by the Bank of Ghana to stop illegal action challenging the revocation of the license of UniCredit Savings and Loans Limited has been dismissed by the Accra High Court. In a ruling yesterday, the court, presided over by Justice George Kumsin, described BOG's application for UniCredit's legal challenge to be struck out as misconceived. UniCredit was one of 23 savings and loans companies which were closed by the Bank of Ghana on August 16 for being insolvent. So if you go on to read, it will tell you about the legal action, the High Court's having jurisdiction, and the background to this whole story. Story by Emmanuel Ebo-Hoxton is on page 16. You can read that. And also the bit about the Small Arms Commission to assign codes to firearms. There's a good breakdown of that as well in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Roland, you want to come in?
Yeah, let me do the Daily Guide. It has on the front page, Kaswa Corps, killers freed, Eric Kujudria caged. Find him on the front page of the Daily Guide. Also on the front page, government frowns on quack security experts. We are with you, Buhari assures Ghana, and Otumfuo's chief killer remanded. Beside that, we have court throws out $139 million Dubai case. On the back page, Eto'o snub shocks Yakuba. On the back page of the Daily Guide. Then we have Man U fans mad at manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Hasn't been so lately, so the heat is always going to be on him. Now we have Vinicius is the best young player in the world. He plays for Real Madrid. Then we have French envoy Lassy Francois Maxport. But let's go to the center spread. Center spread, Donjazzy. That's the center spread of the Daily Guide. Donjazzy celebrate a year of not smoking. And then I never wronged Shatawale Pope Skinny. Center spread. It's there. Sorry. No, we don't have it. Surprising. Usually we'll have it. Then there's a story here about Meralco considering exit. And it says Meralco, the Filipino company that is part of the companies in charge of power distribution in Ghana, apparently is planning to pull out its investment from the country's electricity distribution utility. Already letters have been flying around if you get to monitor social media, and it's quoting, "We're still waiting for development. It's a Ghana government issue." Meralco president and CEO Ray Espinosa is quoted by a news portal. The news portal is the Philippine Star. So
there's this other letter from one of the regulators, I think the stock exchange in the Philippines, trying to get confirmation of the information that you just put out, which is a newspaper reporting that Meralco is considering pulling out, and they say for political reasons. There's a letter that is also out. We're going to try and get that and then put this whole thing in proper perspective for you. But you're done with the paper?
Yes, I am done.
Okay, so let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper whilst we give you more information on this issue of Meralco, PDS Electricity Company of Ghana. Where are we? The Ghanaian Times newspaper, front page of the Times, big boost for youth employment as government launches 4 new initiatives, is on page 17. The Vice Presidents will next Wednesday launch 4 new initiatives introduced by the Youth Employment Agency in Accra. The initiatives, which are intended to create sustainable employment, are the Job Center, Artisan Directory, Agric-based flagship program, and the Work Abroad program. Yesterday there was a press conference where a Deputy Information Minister, Pius Hajide, was giving details of this initiative. Also on the front page of the paper, Information Ministry to hold Fit Town Hall meeting in Bolga. Family planning not preserve of couples, and police deploys 2,000 personnel for NPP primaries. Back page, 97,277 Ghana cedis disbursed to 65 more PWDs in Whole West. Districts also train cocoa farmers to manage their farming business professionally. That's a call from the chairman of the National Development Planning Commission, Professor Stephen Adey. He's highlighted the need for an all-inclusive training in literacy, numeracy, and basic business and financial skills for cocoa farmers to enable them to manage their farming business professionally and successfully. That will be it in terms of what's on the front back page. Center spread, did I go there? Of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Let's do the Finder, front page of the Finder. Tomorrow's NPP parliamentary primaries in orphan constituencies, 100 slots up for grabs. Also, Dr. Bawumia directs public institutions to purchase all toilet rolls from local manufacturers. First heard this yesterday on Newsnight on Joy FM. He actually says that we can meet the local manufacturers can meet the demand. But then again, I was thinking, what kind of toilet roll do I use? Is it locally made? You know, what's the...
you know, there's this, the fluffy one, the white puff one. I think it's made in Ghana.
It's made in Ghana, yeah.
If they're talking about a Ghanaian company, but this one, it looks to be a Lebanese Ghanaian company. So it's still made in Ghana. Fruit, something.
I think it's, okay, so then let's say it this way. So it means companies that are manufacturing it at home, like buy from, because you can't be sure. The company could be home, but
well, the
it may not be Ghanaians running it.
No, it's not for Ghanaians.
So the idea,
that I'm very sure.
So idea is for you to purchase what is being locally produced.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. If they can meet the demand, then that's a good thing. But then it comes back to our own tastes. What do we like to buy?
Yes,
and
it's true. And you get to find that those that come from other jurisdictions, especially from China, they tend to be lighter. And I don't know maybe whether it's because of the preferences over there. But over time, we want it a bit harder than usual.
No, because see, these days, you put it in the toilet bowl, so it's got to be lighter. Yes.
It depends on because if you particularly have seen the Chinese ones I'm talking about, they're way lighter. Way lighter, but it means you have to use more of it. You know, the Ghanaian, you know, yeah.
Charlie.
I know there's not a good time in the morning talking about it, but
okay,
but the ones here, the white, the perforated ones, and you get to find that they're very colorful.
But they're also made in Ghana, aren't they?
Yeah, they're made in Ghana. Those are the main ones, and the same people they make the ones you use in the kitchen or the dining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kitchen roll. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not Ghanaian.
Made in Ghana. Made in Ghana is not necessarily.
And the thing too is that you know the raw materials. We don't get it from here. You get it from the paper is from a tree and all that. We don't.
Yeah, but
we used to have those.
But at least the fact that we're manufacturing it here means a lot.
True.
So yeah. Step by step, Abby. There's a story in the Finder, page 6. Some men threaten wives with divorce over family planning. It says the Family Health Division of the Ghana Health Service has called on Ghanaian men to give the necessary support to their wives interested in family planning, as inadequate male involvement is hindering the process. According to Dr. Ya Asante of the Family Health Division of the Ghana Health Service, some men are threatening health workers who put their wives on family planning methods without their knowledge, and even go to the extent of threatening their wives with divorce if they don't quit it. She cited an example whereby some men do not use protection when having sex with their wives, yet they will not allow them to take up the family planning methods. This, she said, was one of the key challenges facing family planning usage in the country.
Yeah, true. And this story also says that predominantly those who tend to have the group of populations or per the sample that tend to have certain perception about family planning are those who are even educated.
Yeah, in the urban center. So you find out a lot more in the rural areas on family planning, using the contraceptives to be precise.
And I've come across all that thing about why should you be married and using protection?
Okay, would your wife, why am I even saying with your wife? Felicia, let's talk about Felicia. Would she have to ask for permission to be on a family planning method?
I don't.
Is that like your business?
No, I don't.
Aha! Because I feel like it's more like, I don't know, we both have to decide the number of children that we want to have. I agree. But if I want to do family planning between the time that we're not expecting to have children, that's my business, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Well,
I don't mind. Once because
if you want to leave me, go.
Because women, women are right thinking just like us as men as well. And if they have to make decisions that is agreeable to them, first, that's the most important thing.
You are not using the condom. You too, you won't do vasectomy.
Exactly.
Me, I'm doing my family planning to save us all, and you're threatening to leave.
Exactly.
Really?
I agree.
Do you carry the pregnancy?
That's the point. and we all have this perception, or we tend to have perception that if you're using a protection and maybe a rubber or something or so a condom, or it's not nicer by the experience and all. So, and then the other perception is that the other ones that are put in
hormonal.
Have got some reactions.
It's not for everyone. Okay. I mean, there are various methods. The fact that somebody used it and reacted to it in a certain way doesn't mean that you would react to it. So it's always good. And I was reading, I think I was reading some material that said you should actually consult your gynae, because your gynae knows your body better. So don't just go into any family, like a family planning units and ask for them to put you on a family planning method. It's always good to consult your gynae before you do that, because they know you better. They've dealt with you for a while, and they can give you the best of advice. Yeah,
it's a very funny issue.
So if you're a man out there and you hold this position that they must consult you and you have the power to stop your wife from getting on a method, I don't think it's cool, I think it's like, let's reach some kind of consensus, but you don't have the soul, because my body is my body, still my body, Okay, let's do the Ghanaian Observer newspaper. I know a lot of people will descend on me.
So I'm already descending on you.
Front page of the Ghanaian Observer, all government institutions to buy locally made tea rolls, according to the Vice President. Bogus, this is Abrochire Boga. Hail Ekufuado's achievements, corruption in Ghana, attitudinal, according to Senior Minister Osafo Mafo. Pension scheme for cocoa farmers in Offin, according to the Vice President, and fight against unemployment, YEA, to export job seekers. All right, that's it really for the papers. We want to turn our attention to myjoyonline.com. And we certainly want to share with you this letter that's making round.
Miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what we're about to share to you is from the head of disclosure department of the Philippine Stock Exchange. And we know Miracle is a power producer manager in the Philippines. They work in some other respected countries, and they have this big stake in the concession, ECG. And they had this this query from the Filipino Stock Exchange. And it was due to an earlier news that was circulated about the intention of the Filipino company Meralco pulling out of the concession in Ghana. And so it would mean that there had been an earlier circulation from the Filipino company Meralco. But this one is from a query from the Filipino Stock Exchange, and it reads, "Gentlemen, we reply to your letter. Is dated so the 23rd of September 2019. And it's requiring us to clarify and or confirm information contained in the news article titled Meralco plans to pull out investment in Ghana, posted in the philstar.com on September 23, 2019. And the article reported in part that Meralco Electric Company is planning to pull out its investment in Ghana's power distribution utility if the political situation in that country does not improve, its top officials says. It says, we're still waiting for developments. It's a government of Ghana issue, Meralco President and CEO Ray Espinosa said. However, Espinosa said that Meralco is exposed to political risk following the suspension of its concession. So this is what it means. And it means that the terms are good, but they will be exposed to all these uncertainties. And ultimately, could also mean that. So this the enquiry. So with federals to the said article, would like to confirm the statement attributed to our president and CEO with regards to the company's investment in Ghana, and they also would want to inform the stock exchange that the suspension of the concession agreement, as reported in the company's July 31, 2019 disclosure, had been indefinitely extended by the government of Ghana, and will apprise the exchange for any development on this matter. And this one is the Filipino Senior Assistant Vice President reporting back to the stock exchange. So this how the interactions or the correspondence has been, and it will mean that you know, they'll hold a great stake in this with the consortium.
So you know, recently we've been talking about PDS and electricity and ECG, exactly. But there's Meralco, which also has a stake because it's part of that consortium. That's supposed to be managing the assets of ECG and taking over, like we saw.
Having 51%. Yes.
Exactly. But with the recent actions, we've been concentrating on PDS because that's where the issue was coming from. But this is the other company that's just sitting by and watching everything go around, and they seem to be stuck somewhere.
Yeah, so they look visibly worried.
Yeah. So this is a confirmation of what the newspaper had reported about their intentions to pull out. We'll see how government reacts to what we're hearing. This is not locally, though. This is from elsewhere in the Philippines. There's also another story. This is, you remember when the banks went down, Capital Bank, obviously one of the banks swallowed. And the CEO of the bank spoke to Paul Adumotri on Good Evening Ghana. We've got a little bit that we can share real quick. Here we go.
It is my baby.
That makes sense. It's your bank.
It's my bank. I gave back to the bank.
Well, but they say people set up a bank and rob it.
Yeah, but how can you do that? If people do it, looking at where I have come from, migrated it from an unregulated institution to a regulated space, and now to a universal bank, why will I want to do that? Paul, I was also being insulted. And that was when I got amazed how narrative can be turned and twisted. I have sued.
Oh, you have?
I have.
Oh, I see.
I have sued the Bank of Ghana.
I see.
I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have. I have.
But you're a Christian, you don't want to forgive?
I have forgiven, but my property must be protected. My property must be protected under the Property Protection Act. We're a property owning democracy. Hard work must be rewarded.
There's something I have to ask you about your relationship with Dr. Otabil, because part of the narrative that was carried out was that you are so close to Dr. Otabil, like a son of his, and so that the board chairman's regulatory function over the management was failing because of your relationship with Dr. Otabil. How do you respond?
It's rather the opposite.
The opposite?
Yeah. If anybody pulled the brakes, it was Dr. Otabil. Believe you me, Paul.
Because you have a very good relationship with him.
Yes, but what he said, astute man who speaks truth to power regardless of who you are. You can sleep in Dr. Otabil's house today, and if Dr. Otabil has to tell you what you did was wrong, it's not going to change. He'll look you in the face and tell you it's wrong. And he's one of the people. I mean, look, in board meetings, Dr. Otabil displays such level of intelligence. Bankers. You know, Harry Owusu, he was the chairman of Ghana Revenue Authority. Yes, he was former banker. He could ask him, Mr. Chairman, where do you get this level of skills? Bankers would be asking the chairman his level of astuteness. It's amazing when I hear people talk about the fact that he didn't have understanding of what, it's something, of course, like I said, this is the right time I failed to speak. But if anybody pulled the brakes, if anybody disciplined William Atuisian, if anybody had influence to bring to bear, it was Dr. Otabil.
Did you travel to find money somewhere?
I traveled to find money. I engaged a lot of people. Ray Sowa, the current GCB managing director, he is at the time working with GIB London. Resoa led me to a gentleman called Mr. Goldsmith. That the gentleman was going to help us to raise about $35 million. We needed to pay $100,000 in London.
You mean you went to Resoa in London?
We went to Resoa in London. I went with.
Who led you to Resoa?
Mr. Yofi Grant, the GIPC boss. The GIPC boss. Yes.
He led you to Resoa.
He led me to Resoa to find money. 35 million euro. And we got all the document indicating the fact that the money was going to be availed to us. So we needed to pay 100,000 euro in fulfillment of condition precedent. Then the crystallization.
So founder of defunct Capital Bank, Atuisian, one of the things that he said in that interview is also the fact that the finance minister was interested in 2016 in the bank. So it's got a lot of people asking questions. If he was interested in 2016, what changed in 2017 that made them go down?
And we also know that this follows an interaction that a former founder and CEO of UT Bank had also had. And it's got many people talking. But Benedict is here with the latest sports headlines.
Benedict, the vetting didn't quite start yesterday, but there were some processes that began. It is properly going to get underway. We're talking about the GFA vetting processes to get a new GFA president.
Absolutely. And 4 of the presidential aspirants will meet the committee, and then will continue tomorrow. Then next week we'll have the 52 other aspirants. That's for the Executive Council. Also meet the vetting committee. Away from that, we also will talk about what's been happening with Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Ashanti Gold. Both of them are in Africa this weekend. Kotoko are in Tunisia, Ashanti Gold are in Morocco. Plus, what we expect this weekend in the major European leagues.
Fantastic. Well, we have to take a break. Benedict will be back with all the latest. Stay with us.